Captain on the bridge.
Alright, captains, we are back on the bridge, and today, yes, we are going to be back on the USS Kelvin. But before we get into this video, captains, do us a favor, like this video, share it, also subscribe here to the YouTube bridge, as we're always on the lookout for like-minded captains where we can share our passion, our love, not only for Star Trek Online, but for things Star Trek. But with that said, let's go! Captains, yes, again, as many of you know, the Kelvin is one of my favorite ships here in Star Trek Online, or really just in Star Trek in general. I don't know what it is about its design. It just makes a lot of sense to me. It looks very tactical, and I just enjoy flying it. Now, we know that there was a recent change to the pilot abilities, and that is the reason why we are back on the ship, because it actually does have pilot seating. So what we're gonna do is go over the build, over the weapons, the consoles, the stations, the traits, and DOFs, and then take it into a Borg TFO. The Cure Advance, which has been more of our testing grounds really, because it's been kind of fun trying to protect the Kang all on your lonesome. So here we go. The USS Kelvin, the Kelvin Heavy Destroyer. And yes, this ship has been T6X. And the reason why I do that is because I would rather T6X the ships that I know that I love and I would fly a lot more frequently, as opposed to ships that are just kind of one-off. But with that said, here we go. This is what we did. So at the fore, we have the 5 covert phaser beams, or 4, I should say, 4 covert phaser beams. I'll reroll to crit DM damage 4. And then 1 Kelvin timeline photon torpedo, which is one of my favorite torpedoes in game. Sound and just visuals, it just looks awesome. It even has lens flare with it. Space set, we have the Elite Fleet Intervention Protomatter Deflector from your fleet colony. The Prevailing Innovated Impulse Engines from your competition rep. We have the Mycelial Harmonic Matter Antimatter Core, and Tilly's Review Pending Modified Shield, which both come from the Discovery rep. And in the aft weapons, we have the just 2 covert phaser beam arrays, crit DM damage 4. And I bought these beams and torpedoes just off the exchange a long time ago. Now, the reason why I went with these, because in the movie, the Kelvin was firing red phaser beams, or red beams, so I just decided to just go with it. And it was TOSE, so sounding, and that's why we're doing it. Now, this does have an experimental weapon, and we are using what comes with it, which is the Point Defense Matrix. And again, this is actually styled to have the same animation of the turrets that pop off in the saucer section, which fires, and that's why we're using it, just for immersion purposes. It's all about immersion. Not the best in terms of performance, but it's the best for my immersion. How's that? Devices, we have our energy candle here for plus 20% bonus energy weapon damage. The Kobayashi Maru transponder. And then the subspace field modulator. So the buff goodness from the Kobayashi Maru and the somewhat defense there that we get from the subspace field modulator. And the temporal negotiator to help with our cooldowns. Consoles, here we've got going on. We have the Lorca's custom fire controls from the Discovery rep for its plus 3.9 crit chance, plus 7.9 weapon power setting. Consoles here, we got the emulating phaser lance. Now the phaser lance here is kind of reddish, so we're gonna run with it. So it still helps my immersion. But it does give us a plus 15.8% phaser damage, which is going to help us, and plus 43.8 Starship Shield Pen. This comes from your Deimos Pilot Destroyer, which you can get and which I got from my first event campaign a couple of years ago. Next up is the Dynamic Power Redistributor Module. You get this from your prototype Dreadnought, aka Atlas, which you can get also from the event campaign reward as a reward. For its plus 11.3 all damage resistance rating, plus 19% directed energy damage. And its clicky is a good oh crap button, because for 20 seconds you get plus 40% of bonus damage. while your hull is above 80%, plus 100 bonus damage resistance rating, and plus 500% hull regen. And we are pairing it up with the point defense bombardment warhead, for its plus 25% projectile damage. That'll help our 1 Kelvin torpedo. And for its cute little 1% crit chance. Now, the 2-piece of this will give us a little bit more oomph to our phasers, because it's plus 33% phaser damage for directed energy weapons. Next up here is our bioneural infusion circuits, which is from the Low-Buy store, flat out for its 26.2% crit severity. Then we have the Domino, which is from your Bajoran Interceptor. We got this from an event a long time ago, so it's account unlock for all my tunes, but you can also still get it in the Phoenix prize pack at the Epic tier. So it's going to also give us plus 15% phaser damage, plus 20 AC rating. But when you hit this, it's going to give us, for 10 seconds, 25% fire cycle haste for energy weapons, plus 25% bonus all damage, plus 25% recharge speed for bridge officer abilities, plus 100% recharge speed for torpedo weapons. If you defeat a foe, within that time, it extends the duration by 2 seconds, and it can occur up to 10 times. So great console if you can get it, captains. But we are using its baby brother, and it's the M6 computer. You can get this from the Tier 3 Temporal Escort from your shipyard for dilithium. Plus 15% bonus all damage for 15 seconds. 25% cooldown on tactical abilities. Then 20% fire cycle haste for all the weapons for 15 seconds. And then plus 30 AC and defense for 15 seconds. For our tactical consoles, we decided to just go all the way and buff our phasers. So we have 1 exploiter for the 39.4% phaser damage, but the 9.8% crit severity. And then 4 of the locators. Locators. The locators. Again, 39.4% phaser damage, but also plus 2% crit chance. And you can get these from your Fleet Spire. Stat-wise, we are working with 46.3% crit chance and crit severity of 203.1%. And yes, I do have my Pendevers helping us. I'm only ranked to 600. I can go up to 750, but I choose not to because we're just doing fine as is. And if I ever choose to really push the min-max, I will then probably fill it out. But for now, we are doing fine, so I don't feel the need to. So there's that. For our skill tree, this is what we're working with. We have 8 in engineering, just concentrating on hull capacity, plasma flow, hull plating, offensive subsystem tuning, and warp core potential. We have 10 points in psi for control expertise, drain expertise, and of course we got the improved version of those. All in on the exotic particle generator. All in the long-range targeting sensors, and then the rest are in tactical. We just opted out of the advanced defense maneuvering and opted out of the defense coordination to help us either with the psi and or end of things. Traits is what we got going on here. We got a good day to die, fragment of AI tech, superior beam training, beam barrage, unconventional systems, resonating payload modification, self-modulating fire, Terran targeting systems, intelligence agent attaché, and the Boimler effect. For starship traits, we can get a little bit more oomph here because we have 6. We have carrier wave shield hacking, one of my favorites, just strip shields using tractor beam. Emergency weapon cycle, overpowered and overgun, entwined technical matrices, supercharged weapons, and universal designs. Space rep, we have magnified firepower, advanced targeting systems, enhanced shield pen, precision, and Tyler's duality. For our active space reputation here, we just have anti-time entanglement singularity, biomolecular shield gen, deploy sensor interference platform, quantum singularity manipulation, and refactoring Tetron Cascade. Close that for a sec. And now for our stations that are completely gone. That is awesome. So what we're going to do is load out. Bam. Everything should be back to what it was. Good thing we saved it. That was the lovely features that we have here is very prominent, but it saved everything that we had here. So left to right, top to bottom. That's how you fix that, Captains. Just in case you see an empty BOF loadout, just go to your status here, loadouts, and again, always save your builds after and in the middle so that nothing happens, or at least when something happens, you can then help that like this. At least we can put our energy candy back here. No big deal. Saved. Done. Done and done. So left to right, top to bottom, we got our torp spread here, attack pattern beta, beam fire at will, attack pattern omega. So we're going to cycle between beta and omega, and I just love using them because we heard them on the show, especially omega from Captain Cisco. Emergency powered engines. We have chemosite laced weaponry, concentrated firepower, and call emergency artillery. Now, again, one of my favorites specializations here, Captains, you know, is command. And I was jumping at the fact that I can actually pair CEA and, of course, still use concentrated firepower, even though I know this is not the best one to use, but it's okay. With the other revamp power and pilot, we'll get to that in a second here. So next here, emergency powered weapons. With this power is what we wanted to pair it up with. Reinforcement squadron. So I wanted to call in some help as we pew pew. So we're going to use these two just for the sake. And at the end, I will kind of give my conclusions on this particular power, but we'll wait till the end there. Next, we use the reroute reserves to weapon 1. Of course, this is upgrades all your energy weapons for 10 seconds. Set weapon power drain to 0, and then 75% fire cycle haste for energy weapons. So this actually has no visual to it, but it's going to help. And we'll go over that again a little bit more at the end of the video here in terms of its performance, because we actually had some help in getting some numbers in the performance boost of these two powers that we used here from the revamped pilot abilities. Last two stations here is tractor beam and scramble sensors. Then we go to our dopes. We go to the dopes. Always the 2 on ground helping us in space. So Neil Falconer, increased damage versus the Berg. Elder Malikatan, increased damage versus everyone. And then here we go. We have 3 energy weapons officers, with 2 giving us a chance to stack crit severity when we fire energy weapons, and the 1 giving us a chance to stack crit chance. We also have a projectile weapons officer for a chance to stack crit severity when we fire projectiles. We have our emergency con holograph officer here. Recharges evasive maneuvers with emergency powered engines. And Dlyrene, again, more punch against the Berg. So there we have it, Captains. That is the build. I will say I didn't notice a difference, but we're going to take it into a Cure Advance and see how it does protecting the Kang. And again, this is just, I'm so glad they did actually work on revamping the pilots. I never really used it, but now it is an option in my opinion, if you so choose, and if you can fit it on your ship. But look at that. That is just a beautiful ship. Okay, I'll stop Googling before I change my uniform. Let's go into a Cure Advance. Remember, Captains, our good Captain Picard is with us.
Engage.
There was a little feature there that just happened. I'm not sure if you saw that, Captains, but it happened. So what we're going to do is go left to right, taking care of the ships coming towards the Kang as we go to the right side. So left, right, and then center. Here we go. And my stations are again here, so that's great. Let's reload that quickly. Boom, there we go. We can make this work. We can make this work. the 2 powers there. Take care of the cubes here if we can. A little late here on. We're going to circle towards here, the middle, because we had to fix our loadout there. That's okay, we can make it. Take care of that. Over here. So we cleared everything out. There's some more in the middle there. Let's go double back just in case. We want to protect the Kang as best as possible. Okay, we're doing okay. There's one raptor there. We'll have to circle back there just in case it decides to attack the Kang. Then head over to the cube over here. Take care of that. So both CEA and Reinforcement Squadron. A little bit of maneuvering here. Take care of that. We're back to the middle here. We're doing fine, we're doing fine. We'll take care of the Negvar warships first. Call CA on that. That out, and then work now on the cube. Reinforcement squadrons. Then we're gonna have our CA come up here. Use our energy candy. There you go. And there we go. A little bit of a rough start there because of the awesome feature that happened there, but it is what it is. We still got through it. The Kang, I don't think, took a scratch. So here we go. Let's buff up here for this next group. Let's take care of that. Plus the squadron again, and boom, there we go. That is how it did. Again, a little bit of a rough start there because of the features that just happened there. We had 3 features happen in this video. That never happens. Usually just 1, but it was 2. That's okay. And we'll take a look at this pretty ship here in this setting because it is pretty, and then we'll head out here and give our conclusion. So that is how it did. And there was definitely a difference. I did take this out pre-pilot and then of course post in that situation. But I also had a fellow captain help us. And shout out to Exotic. Thank you so much, Captain. So what we did was go take it into an ISA and then go over the results. So he had a parser and he parsed the results, and from before the change of pilot then to after. I will actually link this in the description below, all the results, but essentially there was definitely an increase in performance, and I'll just kind of read it off here right now. So before the pilot changes and in ISA, he did 216K while I was doing 170. Same build with what you saw there that we just went through right now. And then after the changes, same thing. He did 207K and I did 199.39K with one death. He said before my death there, I was about 214. And he was running a scatter volley build, if I'm not mistaken, on his Valdez, the Norway. And before the pilot change, he also took this information, took in pretty much 35% of the threat. And then after, I took 85%, 0.8 of the threat. So as Jonathan said in the cryptic stream, all he did was literally just boost up the damage. Now, the only thing that I wish that he could possibly maybe work on is the ability reinforcement squadron. The reason being is I can hit call emergency artillery at like maybe 2-3 times within this cooldown. The cooldown on this, I believe, is way too long for what it does. Having said that, it did do double damage in pets according to Exotic when he's looking at his parser. So I think I did 6k in damage in pets, and then all of a sudden it went up to like 14. So it did improve. So is it going to be the best thing yet, you know, since command and the intel changed? That's going to be personal choice, captains. I'll use it just because for the sake of fun, and that's why I did the stations this way. I wanted to use Colmers artillery and use reinforcement squadron, and it just so happened that I can use it on one of my favorite ships, which is the Uss Kelvin. Captains always know that whenever we do this, it is just for fun. We do these just because we love the pewz, of course, and then when we can find little things here and there that we can change up that make sense in our mind and make it work for the content that we play through, that is the key. For the content that I play through, as long as I get through it, I am fine. So there you go. So conclusions on pilot. For me personally, I wish they can only change the cooldown on reinforcement squadrons, but it is definitely an increase in performance. And maybe, captains, you should give it a shot. So like the video, comment below, let us know if you've actually tried the changes for pilot. And of course, subscribe here to the YouTube Bridge. And we're always, like I said, on the lookout for like-minded cams where you can share our fun, our love for Star Trek Online. And of course, we will leave it on this note.
Live long and prosper.